What's going on, people? Back with a bang. This is the Money Management, back here to bring you guys my week 16 results on my 0 to 100k challenge. So for those of you who are new around here, that is me trying to go from $0 to $100,000 made from January 1st until December 31st, 2021. So in this video, I'll be giving you guys the breakdown, the results of how week 16 went. I'll give you guys my analysis and breakdown on what I did well, what I could have done better, what I should be doing next week, etc, etc. And of course, I'm going to pick a few stocks that I'm looking at going into week 17. So before we dive into all of that, I would like to ask you guys, please do drop that thumbs up, hit the like button. It is much appreciated. It doesn't take you any time. If you've not done it already, do it now. And of course, make sure you guys comment on the video, let me know your thoughts on the video. Even if you don't have much to say, just comment for the algorithm. In addition to that, make sure you guys share these videos with your friends, get them out to more people, push them out to more people, try and get more people on this 100k challenge. And lastly, but not least, make sure to hit the beautiful red button below and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. So without further ado, let's get into the week 16 results on my 0 to 100k challenge. So let me just pull this up on screen so you guys can see it. So I know you guys can see the results, but I want to highlight something. I was extremely happy with this week, and I think it was a week that we all needed. Now, you guys are probably wondering what I'm talking about because you see that I'm down, and I'm down heavily, 11k on the week. But the reason I say this is because two separate reasons. One, I actually traded very well this week, which we're going to get into later on. And two, it was a green week for most of you guys out there. For me in my portfolio, I had 3 green days and 2 red days. And on a normal week, this would have been a green week. But again, like I said, we'll get into the details on why that didn't happen. But yes, indeed. This week was a good week for me when it came to trading. I placed a mixture of calls and puts, and most of those options plays I made actually made me money. So it was a good week in that regard. But like I mentioned, I'm down 11k on this week, and again, it's very strange for someone to be happy with how the week went. So this week, many different stocks in my portfolio were up. Plug Power was up on the week. ChargePoint was up on the week. Fuel Cell, Neo, they were up on the week. Beam was up on the week. Many different stocks that I own multiple shares of were up on the week. So again, this helped my portfolio, and added to the option trading I did pretty well. But for those of you who've been around here a while, for those of you who watched week 15, probably know the reason that I was down 11k this week. And that was in large part down to the beautiful Dogecoin. So last week I had my first 20k day. That was a day that Dogecoin hit highs of 46 or 47 cents. So when I have a day like that purely because of Dogecoin, what do you think happens when Dogecoin pulls back to 14 cents briefly? Well, it's pretty obvious. My portfolio would be down. And so right now, Dogecoin is sitting around 25 cents, still a lot lower than where it was last week. So of course, my portfolio felt that. And that should obviously clarify to you that I'm only down 11k on the week. I would actually be down a lot more on the week if my options trades didn't go so well, and also the stocks in my portfolio didn't rally. And this was one of the first weeks in a while where I traded pretty consistently throughout the week. I had a few different call options, most notably on stocks like Neo and Fubo. I also had some really good put options on stocks like Mara and also Fubo. Now, you see I've mentioned Fubo twice. Well, Fubo was a very simple trade. Fubo was actually a call out in the group chat, so shout out to Jamie for that one. Of course, as it started to trend down and it got lower and lower, I took profit eventually. And as it started to rise again, yesterday I actually made a Fubo day trade with the option play. So that call option brought me about 7% returns when it could have obviously brought me a lot more before the announcement from Biden, which made everything dip. But like I usually say, if you're making option trading, you're bringing back returns, it's solid. You want that. So yeah, Fubo was a really good play, but Neo was the one that was even better. I was up over 120% at one point. I ended up taking profits at around 87%, so that was really nice gain. My put option with Fubo, I saw just less than 20% return. My put option with Mara, I saw about 47% return, so that was really good. So overall, my option plays did go well. Now on top of that, I'm still currently in 4 different option trades. All of them expire at least in May or further out. One is a $20.50 call for American Airlines. One is a $10 call for CLOV. One is a $70 call for AI, and then the other one is a $4 call for IVR. But all of them are at different price points right now, and I have enough time to expiry to manage them properly. So overall in the week, it was a good week in the market. Most of you probably saw a green week, like I said. I had a decent week when it came to my stocks in my portfolio and of course my trading, but it was just the Dogecoin that brought me down. So that brings me on to the next point, what I could do well and what I could do better, what I did bad. To begin with, what I did well was make the option trades I did and make them confidently. One thing I know which is a common issue that many people struggle with is they like to only buy call options. Well, there are going to be times the market does go down and stock prices do drop. Those are the times to use your put options, and that's exactly what I did. I came away with profit and then waited for at least Fubo to reverse and start showing signs of potential uptrend again to get in again with the call option. That is how you can utilize the put. So that is something I did well. I do think I'm one of very few people who actually is okay and calm when it comes to placing put options, and that's something I did this week and it went well again. In addition, the call options I placed this week went well. So managing my risk was another thing I did well, taking profit when I needed to. After the ridiculous drop in the market, after Biden announced his plans and his intentions, well, yeah, those things you can't expect. So I did well to at least take profits at the end of the day, just in case anything weird would happen overnight with the stocks. Now for what I could have done better, what I did bad. Well, to me, it's pretty clear. I didn't take enough risks. The last video I uploaded, the one before this, I mentioned a few different stocks in there which had been running, and I could have taken a little bit of risk on an OCGN or on a Turtle Beach, on a PLBY, and maybe made a little bit of money through a call option there. I didn't, I chose not to. Of course, it's good to not overtrade, but I could have taken some more risk. Me 3 months ago, 4 months ago, when I was making really good money in the market, yes, I would have taken those risks then, and which is why I was rewarded. If you do focus on managing your risk, it's okay to play more option trades. It's okay to do that. I didn't do that this week, but what I could have done better is probably make a few more trades and go off my confidence. Lastly, I would say, of course, Dogecoin. Understanding when to sell cryptocurrencies so you can buy back in on a dip is something I need to improve going forward. With Dogecoin, it's kind of looking like I'm just going to buy and hold, just continuously hold, so it's okay. But since I know now that it has such a huge impact on my portfolio, maybe in the future when it hits certain highs, I can sell a little bit so it doesn't have such a large impact, etc., etc. Now I want to break down / analyze, I'd say 5 stocks, maybe up to 7, 8 stocks going into week 17. So to begin with, NIO. Now, NIO actually announced earnings next week on the 30th, so that is Friday. But running up to that, I believe you could see NIO continue to run. Like I mentioned, I did make money with a call option with NIO this week. And I think that as it continues to get closer to earnings, we're going to see the stock continue to rally a little bit. I told you guys in the group today in the Discord that once we see it go past 40.50, it could continue to move up next week. And it did go past 40.50. It closed over $41. So I do think that next week, potentially NIO could be a good look for a swing trade. The next stock I'm looking at going into week 17 is Turtle Beach, ticker symbol HEAR. So I did mention this in my previous video I uploaded yesterday. And in that video, I said, here HEAR had ran up a little bit today. And if you would actually look at the chart right after I uploaded that video, or whenever you had seen the video, you would have seen that the stock was, getting ready to break out. Now, of course, Friday it did break out a little bit more, and it continued to surge after the past couple of days. But I think this could continue going into next week. Now, I don't want you to just jump into this trade without knowing what you're doing, placing a short-term expiry call option. With this one, I'm thinking of a 45 to 60 day out trade, if it's not a swing trade. And in that case, I think you should be safe. Now, if you are trying to place a short-term call option on it, then it's definitely a swing trade you need to do, and you definitely want to get in on the dips. HEAR is one that could still run up short-term before it pulls back, and again, over 45 to 60 days, you should be good with a longer-term call option and a little bit of a higher strike price. Energy Recover, ticker symbol ERII, is another one I alerted the Discord about, and at the time, I think it was just after, maybe Wednesday, it was sitting around $18. Now it's sitting around just $21.68 mark, just under $22. And today it gained just under 5%. Now, this one is one you need to look at closely, and you can determine what you want to do your own due diligence, of course. But again, it's one to watch going into next week. Add to that, Accolade Inc., ticker symbol ACCD. So ARKG, an ARK Invest ETF, actually purchased $250 million worth of this stock. So this stock closed out the day with just over 6% returns, and today it actually passed the EMA 5 / SMA 20 crossover. So it might be continuing to break out next week. We're still gonna have to watch it, but the reason I want to watch it is not only because it crossed the EMA 5 / SMA 20, but also because they announced earnings on May 5th, which is the following week. So it could be one just like NIO, which surges until earnings. Of course, if you are gonna get into it, you wanna sell it before earnings. If you're investing for the long term, then of course it doesn't really affect you, but you might want to just be careful on where you buy this. And lastly, Ocugen, ticker symbol OCGN, another one that I mentioned in my last video, in my previous video. Now this one is one of those you have to be really careful with. I know a few members of the Discord did make money with this one today, so well done to you guys, but it's one you have to be careful with. To put this into perspective, Tuesday it was sitting around $5, just over $5 in the $5 range. Today it hit highs of $13.42. But I want to highlight something. Today at one point it was up 42%, over 42% on the day, and it ended the day only up just over 3%. So depending on where you get in these kind of trades, you could make a lot of money or you could lose a lot of money. And that's what I'm saying. You've got to be careful with these kind of stocks. Yes, they're continuing to rally. Yes, it's almost tripled now in 3 days at one point. But you've got to be careful with these stocks because you could lose so much money just because you're trying to buy call options on something because it's a hot runner, whereas it might sell off towards the end of the day and still be up, but you might be down your option, etc., etc. Right now, it is up over 15% after hours, but this is the really big thing I want to highlight now. This weekend, we are waiting for some news on it. If there is news of an FDA approval, next week it could run. On the other hand, if we do not hear any news this weekend, then you could see it fall off the other way. Just like it sold off today from $13, over $13 back to the $9 range. You could see it sell off from where it is now, which I think is around $11, $12 after hours. You could see it sell off. So you've got to be careful with this one because again, the news this weekend or potential news could affect the price of the stock going into next week. So if you want to buy put options, you can do that. I know people who have bought puts, I know others who have bought calls. We're going to see which way this stock swings, but it's going to be interesting. It's definitely one to have your eye on next week. Lastly, the two that usually come up in these videos these days, Mara and RIOT. Now, with both of these, they sold off quite heavily this week, but they did show signs of potential reversal. Today, both of them were up again strongly. And with these two, it's always the same. Depending on what crypto does this weekend, also SOS by the way, that's kind of going to determine what's going to happen with these stocks, at least with market open on Monday. With Mara and RIOT, I am looking at call options with both of them. I think they've fallen off quite heavily and they have so much room to run now, but you can still get away with some short-term puts. Depending on how you play it, Mara and RIOT are both there to make money with call options or put options. And to be honest, all of the stocks I've mentioned just now are all good potentials for buy and holds. Mara and RIOT are definitely two that I'm looking at for buying and holding going into week 17. So that is it for my week 16 results on my 0 to 100k challenge. Yes, I was down 11k in the week, but I'm actually happy with how the week went. You guys now know why. Also, please guys, go check out that stock option starter pack if you would like to learn how to trade stock options efficiently. There are many of you guys out there who have purchased it, so thanks a lot. There are many of you more to purchase it, so thank you guys as well. Also, please do check out the Discord. We're trying to hit 250 members by the end of April, something like that. Of course, make sure you guys share this video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, do all the usual stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Have a great weekend. I got money making. You got money making. See you guys next time for another video. Peace.